Hey everyone, how you doing today? Back to do some texturing on a large flight deck. I just thought I'd show you some updates to the space station to start with. I've got some rooms in here now, and I'm actually looking through a window on the side at one of these rooms. Kind of neat how you can kind of look in there and take a look. I changed it, well, basically I colored the entire space station now. So it is to its pretty close to final coloring. I had a kind of an annoying issue. I respawned this morning to get ready for doing a tutorial, and then all my textures misaligned. Basically, this texture here, and I had it nice. I had all the lines lining up good, and throughout most of the base, something happened and it reversed them and changed them and moved them and whatnot. So I've been actually spending like 45 minutes or so doing about this, cleaning up these issues. And I'm kind of at the point where I have so little of this texture left that it's not even making much of a difference anymore. Um, so that gets kind of annoying. I kept some lines again, but that's kind of how it keeps on going. But just to show you some new stuff, after I get over my OCD here and clean up this stuff, um, not much changed again with the farm. I changed this area a little bit. Looks like I got missing some color here too. I guess not. That's just how the lighting is. There. And I've got 3 of these 4 guest rooms done. So here's one of them. I might tweak these out a little bit more yet if I can figure out something to do with them to make them look a little more enhanced somehow. Um, so all these crew rooms have your shower and your bed and toilet and all that fun stuff. And yeah, I experimented with a different color and lighting in this area. And I actually kind of changed the body line. You notice how it's not symmetrical to the other side. It's actually like this is a guest room off this room here, which is a little bit larger. Going up a floor, also got this room, which is a red one, kind of similar to that of the coloring of the lounge upstairs. And you got some nice little overlooking balconies here. And I did tint all the glass so it's clear. Thanks, Doom Noodle. Great tip. Now you can see in these rooms from out here pretty nicely. I have this room yet to do up here. And let's see what else has changed. Well, besides the texturing and coloring, I also decided to extend out the flight deck a few more blocks. I think about 5 or 6 blocks out this way. And the reason I did that is, well, I wasn't, I had a little bit of extra size class. My goal is to have this at 10. It's at 10 currently, but it's at 951. So I just hit 10 by building this new area out over here, which isn't bad. I have to get a repair bay in here somewhere and a repair console yet. And that should about do it. And then of course texture this last flight deck. What else did I do? Finished off a lot of different areas inside the station. So like going out to this airlock or connector piece is now finished off in here. Going down this ladder. Got some rooms that are a little more finished off here. I think I just blew by them. I got to do this area yet, going to the lower elevator. So then we got this little core room here with the gravity generator and offline protection. This got detailed and whatnot. So it's really close to being done. Even the bottom side here. I guess what annoyed me so much this morning though is I don't know what happened. I noticed there was a small patch with the game. I respawned this station a lot of times already, and I thought I had the textures locked in pretty good, you know, with this particular texture. Or actually, in the textures, um, there's more than just that one. There's this one, which is kind of like a multi-texture. It covers over an area, but there's also this one, which does the same kind of thing. And I believe there's another one here somewhere too. Yeah, these guys over here do that too. Um, and it's frustrating because every time I respawn it, you know, my textures change, and never for the better. So, man, I wish I could find a way to just, you know, if I paint something like if I pick this texture here and I get that, I would assume that would stay that way, and the next time I spawn it, it wouldn't be something different. But that's not the case. It changes. It changes direction. It changes the appearance every time, and it's getting tough to deal with. I don't like that. I cannot stand, like, I mean, the clutter here, and I'm still, I mean, I've like I said, I already spent like, I don't know, probably close to an hour trying to tweak out all this stuff, and it's all screwed up again. And who knows, next time I spawn, I'll probably be screwed up again to the point where I almost don't have any of this texture left because I'm starting to find it nearly unusable, which sucks because it's like the main base texture, and it's like I don't know what else to do beyond that besides have everything just flat. But anyway, back to business. This area needs to get done up, and this is a large flight deck, and I want it to look nice. This is going to be very noticeable on the base. And I think the first thing I ought to try to do here is find a decent location for the repair bay. Maybe have to build it out a little bit on the underside, but I'm thinking I want to put it around here, which is a little bit of a distance away from the control tower there. So let's see here. Should I put it right there in a block? Let's try here. For now, this is just kind of a placeholder, and I'll try to do something on the bottom side so it's more protected. Excuse me. But first things I normally do when I'm trying to build out some kind of area here is try to start mapping things out, like where are the landing pads going to be, how are the lines going to work, and I usually do like a trim border first and then start filling it in. So basically I'm taking a look at like how all the measurements are in the lines, and I'm thinking I'm going to try to put in some kind of straight border that goes straight up to the entry point here. And I'm going to try to use as least amount of the other texture as I can, you know, the one I was complaining about the whole time. Alright, speaking of symmetry, that could save some time, definitely. Alright, so let's see. Now another thing I do is I run a lot of these lights because I can put a decal over the top of them, and it kind of illuminates the decal. So you probably see me do this on a lot of other builds. Of course, I'm looking for new ways to do things, but I haven't really found anything that really works better than that yet. And I do try to space everything out so it's all somehow lines up, you know, like this is only, you know, these are divided by intervals of 2, except for here. And I'll try to follow that pattern all the way around. So now over on this side here, let's see. Probably do similar for now. Might change. I think I'm going to keep it back 1 square. So this is just the first part too, on trying to like get big areas kind of defined. I got to think about the sides here too. So we got a line right there, so I'm going to try to follow that for now. And maybe here. Yeah, this one has a lot of space on it. Some weird shapes too. I'll figure out what to do with those. So let's see. Let's start some of these again. Oh no, that wouldn't line up with there then. That is the thing. I try to keep everything lined up, and I think I might have went too far over on the one side here. So that comes down here on the hangar door. Actually, I think it'd be more sensible if it was 1 block over. Try to get this part right first, and then everything else is pretty easy. Another texture I use a lot, especially for exterior hangars, is this seemingly like a piece of carpet, but it's flat and textured in like a gray color. Looks semi-close to concrete. Just trying to see where I come out here with the lights right now. Okay, so not quite perfectly aligned though, is it? So we're coming out from 2, but only here it's 1 on this side. Actually, no, well, yeah, a little bit off. I have thought about changing the body lines on this top here too. I have this kind of curve going on. I thought about actually just kind of straightening it out, because I don't use the curve on the bottom. But I don't know. It's not that important. All right, so let's do some mass fill in here a minute. Where you walk in, I kind of ought to do something a little different here. Let me get a light and some walk path. Ah, darn it. here we go. Using the texture that I know is going to screw up. But there's not much of it. There's just the one seam there, pretty much, and a little line right there. But I bet you the next time I respawn it, it'll be different again. Okay. For now, we'll just keep on going with this border. Kind of making like a grid pattern out of it, basically. On the side area, I'm not 100% sure yet. I'll leave that for later. Okay, let's get a repair bay. And nice T2. Yeah, this one's not holding back on the parts being used. It's going to be fairly expensive base anyway, so might as well put in the better of the parts and not like a T1. Now this is a little bit problematic. I have to do some testing on that, but I am worried that this could interfere with docking ACB in the dock over here. It shouldn't. I gave it a half block gap here, but that kind of fills it in. I guess I'll have to test it and see how that works out. Okay, so just okay, so now in these individual landing bays, or like different kinds of landing pads, kind of want to light those up too, along the edges, I think. Let's see what happens. I try to keep the light like these aligned from like the front to the back and the side so they all line up. Now I'm a little bit off on some of this, but it should work out, I think. Alright. Now for instance, what I've been liking to do as of late is to add in like some kind of extra grates inside of this area. I'm not sure how big I want to do that yet. Thinking I did something like this. So let's repeat that pattern here. Now to take it one step further, I think what I'm going to do is use some of this texture as well. So yeah, I know it doesn't look very good at the moment, but once you get color and decals and things on there, it looks a whole lot better. These are pretty big landing pads over here. I'll keep them that way though. Let's try something similar over here, I guess. Maybe a little tighter though. Maybe I'll start it here. Try to keep the pattern a little different here for now. See what happens. Yeah. Alright. This one. I started it here so I can line it up to the one on the next side. Have a little bit of uniformity, I guess. Oops. Okay, so that's a start. Now to add in a lot more of these lights. Alright, so let's start like detailing one of these now. So I'll start here with some pinstripe. change this here. And have that come out differently here. That would have to be a light here then. Different corner texture. It might melt through that one too. Yeah. Let's change this again. There's going to be some of these things that are off too, and I'll have to take off symmetry and go through and fix that stuff up. Okay, let's start with a little bit of color here. What color should the concrete be? I think down here I did use just flat gray. I'm going to try the same thing up here, I think, to keep it somewhat uniform. Actually, I'm going to cheat. Let's just do a replace all. Okay. Yeah, make sure to turn that off. I've left that on before, and then I forget about it. I go to color something else or texture something else and replace everything on the base, which can really suck. Alright. It's starting to look like a landing pad. There's a little bit more I do with that too. Let's see if we can home this in a little bit better, get a little more detail in it. Okay, so with color, I don't know if I want it to stick out that much. Tell you what, let's get another color going here. Alright. have it all squared off. Just kind of leave it something like that. Could work. Okay. Nope. That's right, I used a different texture here too. And then the colors. Oh, nope. Did I use that? Guess that already was that tone. Okay. Huh. I guess it's pretty much just gray, isn't it? Yeah, those are almost identical. Well, that's one nice thing about separating it out is after the fact I can alter this. If I don't like the tone as much, I could do whatever I wanted to with it. Say it's like that now. So you can kind of dial it in on what you think looks good after the fact if you separate out your colors like that. Or use a specific color for one particular thing. Ah. Kind of like that better. So this one's a little different. And that's good too, having a little bit of variety. Just not sure how to treat this one yet. Oops. Actually, I don't want it to go that way. Okay. Just do this instead. And I don't have lights on the sides yet here. Let's try to find a pattern that lines up somewhat decent. Let's try this. Oh, guess that works. Let's repeat that over here then. Okay, it's starting to look like a flight pad. What to do with these big areas over here? Not sure yet. I think I'm just gonna fill it in for now with the texture that's pissing me off. I'm gonna turn off symmetry in a minute and clean all this up. And of course try to get some more detail and stuff in there too. Alright, yeah, let's turn this off now. And defunk it. I get rid of most, obviously, but we have a little bit of these lines in here, but can most of them. I seldomly never use any with an angle. They just never look right. And rare occasions if it lines up to something that looks like it could work, but hardly ever happens. Okay. Right. Now, what to do with a walk path? Oh, so get these straightened out too. stuff. Alright, so around the repair bay, I kind of want to mark this off better or do something special for it. Don't really want to use much caution on or like this caution decal on this particular product. I have a couple, but it's toned down a lot from other things I've made in the past, simply because I don't think you don't see much caution tape in Star Wars movies. It's just not one of the things they use. Now I think it's starting to look like the lower landing pad. Let's see what I do down here. It's a little bit different. These are kind of like longer pads, partially miscolored. So now back in this area over here, there is more room. Do I make a small pad here? I don't know. Just say tried. It's too far, okay. just realized I forgot to turn symmetry on too. Damn it. I'll do that later. Okay. So other little things. Always looking for ways to try to enhance it, you know, make it look prettier one way or another. Sometimes through decals. Like in the hangar, I don't know, but I'm totally sold on, oh man, more textures screwed up. It almost added these crossing lines and kind of this big, pretty uniform layout going all the way across, and so there's like an outer border like what I did up there, and then I did this inner border, then I changed it again to a different texture going all the way across, and then again, and basically keep mixing it up all the way around, and then once you get some decals on there, it kind of blends it all together. And of course I did the same thing I did with the waypoint hanger, as I sunk the floor here, which allows me to get this nice ridge line and also an extra line that lines up pretty nicely on those blocks all the way across. Try to sneak in a little bit more detail. Yeah, a couple other things too is I did add some regular cargo crates. I put in these nice ones that have the most amount of storage, and then a couple of these for, well, mostly looks. So each side of the hangar has one of those now too. But anyway, this is looking better. I was just trying to find ways to, you know, make it a little prettier, and I want to see if I'm going to alter this line here on the base or not. I was kind of looking at it from the top, and it looks a little roundy here and there. I don't know if I dig it or not. But as you can see on all these landing pads, I did roughly the same thing. They're all kind of set up that way, and which is neat because here, reduce the light here. So at nighttime, it illuminates, so you can kind of see your landing pads. I might even sneak some more lights in on these smaller sections in the middle here. It looks like I'm missing one there too. Actually, let's get that taken care of real quick. Now, oh, look at that. Just keep on wondering what to do with this. I kind of want like a trim border right along the edge here. But the only thing I can think of to do it with is more of this flat concrete right now. Oops. Oh, not that color. gray here. You know, that is something I could do. I could color this differently. Pick like a... Yeah. That's right, we did have a landing pad there. That's okay, though. Or just fill that all in. I don't mind that approach. Actually, I think it's too dark here anyway. And I do got to recreate that landing pad here. So what have I got going on? Looks like... Now, I might try to align some of these lights better yet too, because they're a little funky in places. But you got to start somewhere, so I kind of start generally, and then I'll look at it some more and more, and see if I can make things align better, and keep on refining it until it gets to a certain point. Oop. I think I did something like that. Okay, I guess it is that way. All right. Oops. Oh. Well, I'm not saying I won't tweak it a little bit more, but that's basically it. And it'll look good at night, and during the day it doesn't look too bad. Just a lot of different muted grays and a little bit of texture mixed up. Not a lot. It's fairly organized now. You know, I'll probably try to do something in different places. Not sure what yet. I'd have to just study it and try to figure out, what could look good there. Oops. Sorry, OCD kicked in. Had to fix some lines. Don't like the lines. Okay. Well, as you can see, it's coming along nicely. I got to work on that CV yet for it and finish up this repair bay thing and try to figure out if my positioning is going to work. I am concerned that I might have screwed up bay 2 down here. There's some miscolored textures. And then, of course, too, I wouldn't just leave it like that. I would have to build something out around here, but I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it there yet. So maybe I will bring it in closer again. But I'm thinking, if you're going to roll up with a CV, let me just test that with something. How about the good old HeCat? Where are you? Yeah, not sure how this is going to work out quite yet. It's a pretty big carrier to land that way, but I think that might work. I guess we'll have to find out. As you can see, the HeCat carrier's deck is very similar to what this is as well. I didn't use the walk path in the middle, but it's using the same type of texture arrangement. And yeah, the whole point is so everything kind of matches and blends together here. But anyway, that is it for today. I'm going to keep on working on that. I just wanted to show how I go about doing landing pads, and that's kind of my method. Of course, a little more tweaking here and there, and maybe maybe I'll even try to get some lights on here. As in size class, I have a little bit of room left. Damn, that ship's loud. I hear the in-game sounds in my when I'm playing, but they don't record. And with that on, I could hardly hear myself talk. All right. Yeah. Well, you all have a good day, and hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that helped a little bit on how at least I have done landing pads so far. I keep on trying to mix it up now and then, but I haven't strayed too far from the original design that I used to do. And I do mix it up. Like in here, I was trying to get some color going on, but same idea. If you see the texture lights and the lines, very common thing that I do a lot. I was just kind of taking a look at this to see if the textures got messed up in this one. They kind of are. I've been doing that same process for a while, and it's discouraging sometimes, when I'll have like I have this here, and say I spent all this time and I realigned all these textures, and then I save it, and then I spawn it again, and everything's all misaligned again. And it's happened on this base a lot already, and it's starting to annoy me. I thought after like 1 or 2 times of like straighten them out, I would get them, and it would stay that way. But it seems like it hasn't this time. But I spawned it several times, and they didn't get screwed up. but this morning I did, and I don't know if there's, I noticed a very small steam patch for Empyrion. I don't know what it did yet. I don't know if it had anything to do with it or not, but it just keeps happening, and stuff like this just, I, nope, I just do not like it. But now I'm like almost completely smooth. I mean, there's hardly any of that texture left anymore. So it's like, should I have even used it in the first place? I don't know. Um, you know, one last thing I ought to do real quick too, and this is something with sensors. This hangar space does not yet have light sensors in there, and it's too big for one sensor. Like I attempted that already. So I put in a sensor here that I was going to have control all the hangar lighting. And it cannot go far enough out to meet up to the door if it's centered. So to make this work, I got to set up a circuit. And put in multiple sensors. Now, I was also thinking to keep things simpler, I was going to run the same sensor that are in the hangars to control the lights in these rooms as well. So if you're in the hangar, they will turn on. I don't have to do it that way, but it would keep it simpler, and I do kind of like being able to see into these rooms, you know, illuminated if you're out in the hangar. I guess if I do, it's cheaper this way at least. So first thing I want to do is find a couple nice places to dump some sensors, and I'm going to keep them a little closer, I think, on this inside beam. So let's say we put a sensor here, and where did I do that? On the inside? Yes. Sensor there. Alright, we'll call this hangar 1. Yeah, hangar 1 light. Yeah. Okay, so hangar 1 light, we'll just define a radius on it. Make sure this works out first too. Go down to the floor. Gotta make sure it gets all the way deep enough in here to control these room lights. Probably do something separate over there. So I think this is going to be problematic too. So it can't go any farther this way, so it would not. What the hell? Oh, okay. This is the unfinished room that I had mirroring on partially when I was building the other room, so it kind of copied that stuff over here. So that doesn't work either. It doesn't go far enough inside that direction. So how far out can we go? This other way then. So that way would have to go. That's too far. So oh no. One more, I guess, because you'd have to have the elevators covered too. And goes far enough that way. Maybe I will bring it back and not cover the rooms with that then. Or take the sensor and move it in. You know, this is gonna get kind of, this is gonna take a little while too. This video is already kind of running on. Maybe I'll try to branch this off into another tutorial on setting up like a circuit between multiple sensors. And I could go up to 4 sensors to cover this area. So I don't have to just use 2. Of course, I'm trying to use as few as I can. But it gets a little tricky trying to get all these areas filled in. And I have a feeling if I did want it all in one sensor array that I would have to move the sensors closer this way, or probably actually add 4. So I'd probably need like 1 out in the center here, 1 on this far, 1 over here, and 1 over here. And essentially what you do is you make a circuit, OR circuit, in this case 4x OR. I'll show this on a different tutorial. That'll make more sense. Okay, well anyway, y'all have a good day. Thanks a lot. Bye.